Maybe we should go out on the streets and find out how long other people take to fold this bike.
Go.
If you can fold this in 5 seconds, I'll give you 20 quid.
One, go. Throttle up the hill. See? It's all right. Can't do that on any other mini bike. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. Oh, that was silly.
This is the DYU C2, and spoiler alert, it's the best mini e-bike I've tested ever. DYU even say it can be folded down by a thin woman, their words, in under 5 seconds. Well, we're not here to navigate that minefield, but we will be heading out to the street to put that to the test. We'll also go over the negatives of the bike, because there are a few, but first let's quickly see what was in the box and how it all went together. There's instruction manual, tools, foldable pedals, 1.5 amp charger, and that's it. The box itself was pretty small and well packed, and as with all mini e-bikes, it went together extremely quickly and easily. Now let's head out onto the street, and as always, I like to start by seeing how it goes under no power.
Straight away, negative, sorry, DYU. The saddle does not go up that high. They could do with a saddle that goes up higher. That makes it harder to pedal. However, it is possible, and you could pootle home. Ugh. You could pootle home faster than walking, but it wouldn't be ideal. So this is a bike that you don't want to run out of battery on.
Highest position, probably, I mean, I'm 5'9", and that's about right. If you're mainly using throttle, then you could get away with being probably 6 foot. But if pedaling, you wouldn't want to be much over 6 foot if you're on this bike.
One of the first things I noticed about the bike, apart from how small and pretty it was, is that it actually has a proper speedo on the screen.
They often don't have a very good screen, and they don't tell you how fast you're going, whereas this one does. It's got like, it's very basic. These dots tell you what pedal assist mode you're in. It's in kilometers per hour. There's no gears on this bike. And let's talk about that battery really quick, and the motor. It's a 250 watt. Although they say it peaks at 500. It's a 48 volt battery. These things are usually 36, so that's a bit bigger. That's interesting. We're going about 23 kilometers, and it's reading 14 miles an hour. Feels pretty accurate to me. Cruise control kicking in. Now, because it's got no gears, already I'm not really doing anything. Like, this is pretty much as fast as the bike goes, which is the legal-ish limit of around 25 kilometers per hour. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm going fast, but my legs are going around fast. I think they could do with altering the gear ratio to make it more helpful. But then again, if you did run out of battery, then it'd be really hard to pedal. So I suppose it's a bit of a happy medium, and you don't have to be going at 15 miles per hour on a bike. That's fairly quick, 15 miles an hour on a bike like this. So anyway, back to that motor and the battery. So it's kind of a strongish motor. The 48 volt battery isn't usual for these. 7.5 amp hour capacity, which gives it 360 watt hours. So that's the same as like a 36 volt, 10 amp hour battery. And they reckon that's good for about just under 40 miles. I doubt we'll get just under 40 miles going on the throttle. That throttle, by the way, is one of them little thumb throttles, easily removable if needed. Also, when it came, the throttle only took it to a very legal 6 kilometers per hour. Actually, it was more like 4, because you're allowed to do that. And to get rid of it, I turned it off, I held down the throttle and the brake, and turned it back on again, held down the throttle and brake, counted to 15. I noticed the front light was flashing and the rear light was flashing. It's got a brake light, by the way. And then when I tried it again, it took you up to 25 with no load. With me on it, 100 kilograms ish, I'm going about 22 kilometers per hour. But like I say, I can't really do much help, and pedal assist only, it seems to be a bit slower. It's all right actually. Quite often on these mini bikes, the pedal assist is a bit slow and rubbish, like it's not as good as the throttle for some reason, but it feels all right. Right, I'm gonna go for it. Oh, that was silly. By the way, this screen, it's monochrome, black and white, but it makes it, even in direct sunlight, really easy to see. Battery capacity, pedal assist, your speed, it's the clearest screen I've ever seen. It's not the best screen, and it doesn't give the most detail, but it's clearer than any other screen I've had. Throttle, up the hill, see? It's all right, you can't do that on any other mini bike. Feels good, it's got a good punch away from the line. It's not the fastest, but it gets you up to speed. I'm quite impressed. Now this stretch of road is particularly potholy. I'm trying to go through a few of them, and it's more like rear suspension, but they call it middle suspension because it doesn't have front suspension. But you know what? Because all your weight is on your bum, the way you ride it, it feels better actually. Like, it makes a lot more sense only having rear suspension than only having front suspension, because most of these bikes, if you've only got one suspension, they put it on the front. I suppose if you're on a faster bike, you've got your saddle higher, you've got more weight on your arms. Yes, that makes more sense, but with the lower saddle and not all the weight on your arms, then rear suspension makes more sense. So yeah, it's good thinking, that is. 1, 2, 3, go. I'll be amazed if this gets anywhere near the top. They usually conk out around the factory. Some of these mini bikes have conked out way before then. This, of course, is the sequel to the DYU C1, which originally was one of the cheapest bikes you could get and the smallest. But unlike that bike, this bike actually folds in half and the battery is easily removable.
We interrupt this hill climb with a public service folding test.
DYU say it's got quick and easy folding. Now, I love the fact that it folds in the middle, because often bikes this size don't fold in the middle, so whilst they're small, they could have gone even smaller, which this does. Now, from the DYU official website, I kid you not, quick and easy folding. It takes 2 steps only to fold the DYU C2 e-bike. Even a thin girl may fold it easily within 5 seconds. It is also easy to store and carry. Right, okay, I'm not a thin girl. Let's see how long it takes me to fold it. 2 steps. That would be this and this. Technically there's the pedals as well. The pedals do fold, so I am going to just quickly fold those and not count that in the time. So I want to fold that, and I'll fold that in 5 seconds. Come on, for the next 5 seconds I'm identifying as a thin girl. Let's go. No. Done. With practice, let's try one more time. So, back, go. Okay, no. So this is not a slider, this is a button. I'm used to it being a slider. So, go, press, pull, turn, get out of the way. Pull that. Done. Pretty quick. Maybe we should go out on the streets and find out how long other people take to fold this bike. Go.
That was my mate who did it in an amazing 4 seconds. He didn't want to be filmed, but then someone walked past who didn't mind.
If you can fold this in 5 seconds, I'll give you 20 quid.
Have a little play first. So remember the red button, yes, the red button. It's not bad, it's not bad. Oh, right, ready for your thing?
Yeah.
On, go. Oh! That was it, wasn't it? Yeah. Was that faster than you? That's 3 seconds. There you go. Well done. Thanks very much.
So this bike is insanely easy to fold, and as I said, you can remove the battery with a key to charge elsewhere, unlike many other mini e-bikes. Now let's get back to the hill climb.
Right, grip box. I don't want it to totally get stressed out, but ooh, better than most. Let's pedal now. Ooh, right. And that's the problem with a cadence sensor. You've got to get rolling before the power kicks in. Bloody hell. Even with throttle, it's hard to get up here. Is it even do? Oh, there we go. There we go. Ah, that's much better. The throttle wasn't actually on. That's better. Phew. I was wondering what was happening then. You know, under power with pedaling, I can feel that the torque on this bike is more than most other mini bikes. I'll tell you straight off, the throttle was broken. It's got one of those little thin thumb throttles, but it was snapped, so I had to glue it together, and now it's a bit loose. Right, top speed run. Not worth it. I'm rubbing, so it's really rubbing.
So on the ride, one thing I noticed that it felt a bit rough when I was pedaling, and when you go backwards, it felt like you had to force it. But as you can see now, it's quite free moving. And the way I fixed that was by turning this suspension, because it was quite loose. It was like unscrewed, so you had to kind of screw it in, and then the suspension feels better, and so does that. It must have been rubbing on something when the suspension was down. Weird.
If I had to get around on this bike, because it's so small and fairly light, it's about 23 kilograms.
Light enough to put into the boot of a car, easy enough to pick up. Easy.
It's not the lightest, but it's pretty light. If I had to, you know, take this on a train or a bus and then get off for a last mile, I'd be okay on this. It's all right. So the wheels, 16 inches, 2.5 inches thick. They're a good size, to be honest. Obviously way bigger than e-scooter wheels. With the throttle, you can almost treat this as an e-scooter, but it's not going to be like targeted, because it obviously looks like a very legal e-bike. They've come a long way, these mini bikes. They had the DYU D3F, which is still available, which is, to be honest, if you look on Amazon, you'll see a load of bikes with that same exact shape, with that battery that you can't remove. And then the DYU C1, which I thought was better than the D3F, they stopped selling. It was cheaper, it was smaller, but it didn't have any sort of handle to pick it up. But both of those bikes, you could not actually fold in the middle. So despite being small, they were still a bit cumbersome if you wanted to get into a boot or something. Well, depending on the side of your boot. Mechanical disc brakes. We shall do the brake test now. I'm going 28 kilometers per hour, and oh, bit of a skid there, which is kind of expected because it's like thinner tires. But there's the bus stop. That's pretty good, not bad. I wonder if they knew me. Oh, we've got a bell. It's an average run-of-the-mill bell. Gets people turning around, wondering what's going on. It's got a stand. I mean, there's not much else to say. Feature-wise, it's pretty bog standard, but that isn't the selling point of this bike. It's all, wow, they gave me a load of room. They nearly crashed because they gave me so much room, but thank you. It just feels easy going up here. I wouldn't be able to do this on the old C1, not this easily. I mean, not only that, it looks so nice. When I brought it into the house, my wife was like, oh, that looks posh. And I suppose compared to the others, it is. And it's nice to see a bike design that you haven't seen before. Like, you haven't seen it on a whole load of other brands. I've only ever seen it on the DYU C2. I can tell that I'm not pushing it to the limits of its weight capacity. Like, they say 120 kilograms, and me being about 100, I'm actually quite heavy. But it doesn't feel like I'm stressing it out at all. It feels good. 30 kilometers per hour then, cheeky, cheeky. So it's done well on a hill climb. It's done well in general torquiness. It's done well on the brake test. It actually folds in the middle. I'm gonna, apart from the broken throttle, which, yeah, it's a shame, it happens though. And it's a bit hard to pedal when it's got no batteries, and the saddle could do with being going higher. Hello. Apart from those little things which I would say aren't really deal breakers, this is exactly what you want in a mini bike. You're not after insane speed. You just want it to get you around easily. You want it to be not too heavy. You want it to be able to fold up tiny. And this does all of that. And then if there's anything wrong with the battery, you can take it out, you can lock it into place, you can remove it, you can charge it somewhere else, unlike these other bikes. You can take your bike in and charge outside if you're scared of the batteries exploding. I am really impressed with this bike. I've just gone down to 4 bars. I've probably done about 5 miles. Very impressed. Of course, with the throttle, it is technically currently in an illegal mode, which is easily able to reset back to legal mode by holding down the throttle and the brake. Anyway, that was the DYU C2, a mini bike from DYU that I am extremely impressed with. Extremely impressed with. It basically does exactly what you want it to do for a mini bike. If you're in the market for a mini bike, I'm going to just go out there and say this is the best one. I really like it. Now I'm going to do the annoying thing though and say, if you are actually interested in buying this bike, feel free to use the link in the description, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be an affiliate link, so if you use that it will help out the channel. But if you don't want it, that's absolutely fine. If you can buy it somewhere else cheaper, go for it. It's a great bike, and that's all I'm here to let you know. So if this video helped you, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you were just annoyed by the video, thumbs down, that's fine. I understand. And until next time, ride safe.